Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be drawing and painting with watercolors this adorable little heart cactus. So if you're interested in that, I hope you stay tuned and we're gonna just jump right in. Let's dig into the supplies. I'm using my Arches 9x12 paper that I cut in half. And I just want to remind you that the Arches 9x12 paper is actually 12 point something or other. It's like 12 1/4. So I always have to trim a little bit off of it in order to have it fit in a 9x12 frame. Just something to be mindful of. I decided to put a washi tape border. I kind of made it like it could be like a Valentine's Day postcard. You could always keep the paper together and then fold it in half so you could write a message on the inside. But I got a couple different ones out. I didn't find this one until I already put this one down. But any washi tape would do. I just wanted to pick something just to make it a little bit more festive. And I have my 2H pencil, which is what I drew this in. 2H is too hard, which means it's just a harder lead. So the harder the lead, the lighter it will sketch on your piece of paper, but it's also harder to erase, especially if you push down very hard. And it will also kind of make an indentation in the paper. And then I have just some erasers, and then I have my Posca pen, which I think I might use to outline it. I haven't decided yet. And then just a plethora of brushes. Most of them are Princeton. As always, I will list my supplies in the description box. For my paint, I am using my Meiliang paint set, and I already have it mixed up. I'm using this like butcher tray, which I actually really like. So this is a mixture of cobalt blue and emerald green. So it's kind of like a turquoise, which is really hard to tell on the camera. You'll see it a little bit better when I put it on the paper. This is rose red, straight from the pan. I just added more water to kind of lighten it up a little bit. And then this is hooker's green with cadmium yellow, and then I just mixed those together just to make it a little bit of a warmer green. You can use one color, 3 colors, 4 colors, 5 colors. I just wanted to have kind of a little bit of a gradient. I'm gonna show you really quick how I drew this. It's super simple. You can decide kind of where you want the pot to be. And I just draw my first line, make that darker so you can see it. And then you have to kind of put in ellipsis, which I hate. It was like my lowest grade in art school. And then I just kind of draw. You could just make it a straight pot. You don't have to get fancy. For the one I drew, I just kind of followed the line up here and then extended these down and then kind of rounded it off like so. And then for the heart, you can decide how far you want it to be sitting in here. Like so. And then you would just erase the other side of the pot since you wouldn't see it. So it just looks like it's kind of sitting right in there. Easy peasy. This is what one of my practice one looked like. So I'm kind of going for something like that. And then I have 2 jars of water to my right. One I use to rinse my brush, and then one that just has clean water. So I'm going to start by wetting the heart. I'm going to start with the heart. And I'm going to wet the entire heart. We're going to do wet on wet. If you've been here before, you know I like to use this method. And you want a nice sheen on your paper. You don't want it puddling. I taped it down since I'm going to be doing a little bit of wet on wet. That way it helps it from like curling up. Where you put the water is where the paint is going to go. And then if you have any little pooling areas, you can just use the tip of your brush and kind of soak some of those up. That was my 16. Now I'm going to move to my 10. Now my paints are watered down because I wanted them to be a lighter color. So I made them a little bit more watery. And then I'm just going to touch the tip of my brush right along that edge. And then I'm going to add it to a couple other little spots. Could turn back time. rinse my brush. And I always have a paper towel in my hand so I can make sure that the brush is clean. And then I'm gonna go in with that turquoisey color that I made. And I'm just going right next to that red. And they'll diffuse together all on their own. Now that's a little darker than I wanted, so I'm rinsing my brush off. And then I'm gonna kind of spread that a little bit more to the center. Rinsing my brush. I'm going to pick a little bit more of that red up. I'm just kind of dabbing, charging, is what they call it, into that blue. Rinsing my brush. And then I just have the tiniest bit of water. And you can go back in if you want to deepen that a little bit. Pick up a little bit more paint. And see where the blue and the pink ran together. You get a little bit of purple. All that we forgive could build a place where we could. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of that green that I mixed together. When tomorrow comes, when tomorrow comes. So I don't have like a complete plan. I just want to allow these colors to kind of mush together naturally. You have to be careful bringing in any more water. So I just had my brush barely damp. I just wanted to kind of diffuse that a little bit more and soften those edges. And I'm going to go in with my 6. I'm going to go in with a little bit more of a concentrated rose red. I'm just kind of barely touching that edge there, just to deepen that a little bit. And this is another one of those times that you want to try to have as much paint mixed together as you think you're going to use. I'm actually having to mix a little bit more. That way they're the same color, they're the same consistency. So this will be a little bit different shade more than likely because I'm having to mix a little bit new. But there's just a couple little spots where I thought it'd be nice to kind of deepen in the color. And now my paper is still wet. You can see it. That's why it's still diffusing together. I'm just barely touching my brush, kind of using the side of it. I'm getting most of that water off, and I'm just going to go around those edges a little bit just to kind of spread that out a little bit more. Now there are a million different colors of cacti. I just kind of making this one up a little bit, but you could do all pink, you could do just pink and green. And then why it's just damp, you don't want it super, super, super wet. I'm gonna go in with deep violet. It's fairly creamy, and I'm gonna use just the tip of the brush to put in where I want the little needles to be. And this is just because it's loosely creating a shadow, and it gives me a little bit of a roadmap for where I want to put the needles, like so. Now I'm gonna dry this really quick with a hair dryer I have off to the side, so I'll be right back. Gonna get a little fancy with the pot. I have this metallic set. It's a mess by Dececio, whatever. So I'm gonna be using the yellow and the gold. I kind of mixed them together. Now when it comes to metallics, you have to be sure to mix them up really, really well. Each time I kind of go into the palette, I continue mixing them, or you kind of lose the metallic part of it. So I'm gonna go straight in to the pot. I'm not getting it wet first so that I can make sure to get that really nice metallic look. And I'm just following along my pencil line. So this is a very creamy consistency. Remember to hold your brush perpendicular, like up and down, so you can have more control and stay right along your line that you drew. And then there's this bronze color, which I'm actually going to go in with and put kind of what the inside of the pot would be so that it's a little bit darker. I'm going to switch to a little bit of a smaller brush. That way I have more control and it's still nice and creamy. And then I'm going to use that also to put a little bit of a shadow underneath where this would be sticking out. I'm going to rinse my brush, and then I'm going to go along the edge with just the tiniest bit of water and soften that up.
In a world gone mad, I need to be free.
And then I can also I can also mix a little bit of the colors together so it's not as much of a jump. And I'm going to take a little bit more and bring some onto one side. And then a little bit just around the bottom.
And you're never gonna change it. I was born.
Rinse my brush. I picked up a little bit of that yellow just for those to kind of blend together a little bit more.
I tried to avoid it. Close my eyes.
And then while that's drying, I'm going to take my rigger brush. It's very long so you can get nice skinny lines. And this is what I'm going to use to create the needles. That's how I made those. So you're just kind of flick your brush. You'll make them all different little lengths. You could also use a colored pencil. You could use fine liners in the color that you want, or just make them black. It's entirely up to you. But I'm going to start in the center of the little droplet that I put in. And I'm just going to kind of flick my brush, make some go outside and kind of stick out. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of purple around the edges. I'm going to get it wet first, just a little bit on the corner here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and dry this and then I'll be right back. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do kind of like a sketchy outline with my black Posca pen, which just means I'm not gonna do a really hard line. I just kind of scooch the pen across, but also kind of picking it up as I go so that it's not just one solid hard line.
Yeah, nothing's gonna stop us. You're not ready for us. We move together as one. Yeah, we got that feeling, always just revealing. Fighting again and they tried. And that's why.
And then I'll add a few little lines just to bring that black in to the center as well. And then you could write something. You could also make it a little bit smaller so that you could write something up here and down here. I'm gonna write free hugs because I just think that's funny. So I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna write it in pencil first, I think, and then I'll go over it and then I can erase the pencil lines. So I removed the tape, erased my pencil lines, and then used just a little, like a damp paper towel to run across the washi tape to get any of the watercolor off that kind of seeped under my masking tape. There we go. So cute. So this was fun. So I hope that you'll try it as well. And I am on Bluesky, and I will have my info in the description box if you want to join me over there, and you can also share your artwork with me on that platform as well. So I'd love to see what you're creating, and if you create this, I would love to see it. So I will see you next Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great week, and I'll see you later.